Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. We're going to tie some of this all together. We're going to talk about energy and inflation because they are very connected. Just go to the gas pump and that's where you're getting energy for your car and you see the inflation day by day going up and up. And I came across a very interesting clip with Kevin O'Leary. He is, a lot of people know him from Shark Tank, but he's a businessman. And he visited North Dakota and he was on an interview with CNBC. And he says it's impossible to maintain energy security without a pragmatic transition. You can't say we're using fossil fuels, now we're not, and expect there not to be some inflation and a lot of growing pains. Let's watch what he had to say.
Wonderful guy all the time. Kevin O'Leary, what's your take on all this, Kevin?
You know what's so ironic about this conversation? The future of energy being exactly what they're doing in North Dakota is actually the solution to our problems. It's been accused of fracking and very successfully, but this is a unique geology in North Dakota. They have massive salt caves, absolutely huge infrastructure there that allows them to take flared gas, sequester the carbon, and push it back underground again. And the citizenship there endorses it because they get paid a royalty if their home is sitting above it. And carbon is inert. Now, why do I even know this? Because I went and saw Bergam last week and the senator there as well, Hoeven, because I'm seeking clean energy for data centers. And they have one of the most unique states that nobody knows about. I don't know why the president doesn't fly there and point to the future of energy being exactly what they're doing in North Dakota. They still use traditional hydrocarbons, but they sequester the carbon. And they've got the big oil guys spending all the money there, the Exxons and the Chevrons, wanting to do that and point the world to this new solution. We're going to have hydrocarbons for the next 25 years. We need a transition. The messaging coming out of the White House has been exactly not that from the beginning. Shut down Alaska, shut down offshore.
Yeah, so the Biden administration is saying to shut everything down, and that's not working.
I don't think that's the answer there.
I mean, I can't even comprehend all the shutting the oil wells down in. I mean, now we're going to this hydrocarbons, these storage facilities. I'm trying to understand what it all means. I understand carbon capture, and they want to start using this as an alternative fuel source, energy source, I think it is, clean energy.
Well, part of it, they're saying the pollution is CO2. Now, I have a brother who's a meteorologist and says, CO2, are you kidding me? Like, plant life depends on it. We won't get into that controversy. You know, we could be planting more trees, but they're saying CO2 is a pollutant. And like my brother says, it's only a pollutant in politics. But in order to use energy, you want to capture the CO2 that it produces. So in North Dakota, we are now set to do that. And they put it underground. I don't know what the long-term effects are. I'm not saying whether we should or shouldn't, but we are. And it enables us to continue using our energy and not creating the CO2 or not putting it into the atmosphere anyways.
And they talk about like carbon and how it's an inert gas. So essentially it harms nothing, especially once it's underground. So again, whether it's good or bad, I think, you know, we talk about North Dakota being at the forefront of energy production. And I mean, that's pretty much all across the board and that's no secret. And so it is kind of like, why doesn't anyone take any tips and tricks from us or let us just lead that? And instead we're over in Saudi Arabia and all these other countries trying to buy fuel and oil and gas from them. And we see the prices rising. And it's no secret that the prices are going to continue to rise if we can't meet the demand that we have. I think that's just tough.
You know, some different commentators, because I don't pretend that I know the inside story of energy, but some of the things that I have listened to that people I respect are saying things like, well, okay, so you appease the left, cut off energy production, and we don't have refineries. We haven't built any new refineries, so we have to go to Saudi Arabia and the places where they are refining the oil. And so we're cutting off our production, but we're just buying it in other countries. So then, oh, we can't buy from Russia anymore. And we're just shooting ourselves in the foot, acting like we just want clean energy. But if you really care about whether it's clean energy or not, then why are you buying energy from other countries?
And how do they get it here? I mean, they have to transport it.
And they pollute more than we do because
Yes.
they don't have all the EPA regulations that we do.
Yeah.
And them saying that CO2 is a high pollutant, we expel CO2 off every time we exhale. And we breathe in oxygen, we exhale. So are we polluting every time we exhale?
Well, yeah.
We're breathing?
We sure are.
We should have filters on all the time, right?
Oh, don't say that.
And
Then
yeah,
they'll bring
that
out
would
a
be the next
mask
thing.
again.
And we have to cut back on our exercise because we're producing more CO2 then, right? When you're,
Oh,
you know, there was, no kidding, there are people saying that agriculture and farmers are a problem because cows produce a lot of CO2. And I had somebody on from the Farm Bureau saying how, yeah, that was somebody out east trying to say that cows produce too much CO2 and they're exhale and exhaust. Yeah, but so somebody else I had listened to talked about, you know, if you really thought this was a problem, why aren't you just planting more trees?
Seems
Why?
like an easy, logical solution.
No, but you have to do the expensive shut down business solution instead of, you know, we all know, we learned in grade school that plants take in CO2 instead of creating all this, a whole nother industry now to take care of it. We could just be planting trees.
yeah, you just have a lot of people talking that are making all these decisions, but I don't think there's a lot of thinking and a lot of
No.
research behind it. I mean, we're just appeasing this green energy, and no one.
I feel like AOC is running the country. And everybody laughed. Do you remember when that whole Green New Deal came out? There were people that made memes with it where he's showing it was written in crayon or something. It was like, oh, come on. It was ludicrous. But basically, that's where they talk about the Green New Deal as if, isn't it a great idea? But look at what it's doing to our country. And, you know, I'm wondering what's going to happen at midterms. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think it's safe to say people are slowly opening their eyes and seeing what's happening. I think it's unfortunate it takes high dollar gas for people to realize that, but I feel like, you know, if you look back, whenever gas prices seem to rise, people slowly wake up because they don't want to pay that much money for that. Or, you know, eggs have gone up in price. Everything has risen, and I feel like that is slowly just awakening Americans and people around the world to what is going on over here in America. And so I'm hopeful that will, you know, change people's minds and get them to, you know, I use the term awake a lot, but just wake up and see what's happening in America, and hopefully by midterm something will change.
The good woke.
I think this is what it took, though. This is what it took because we've been doing this show. We've been looking things up and saying, like, we've been looking at the border. We've been looking at what the left is saying, but what is really happening? Like, how many times did they make fun of Trump, who's saying that when he said COVID came from a lab in Wuhan, China? Oh, conspiratorialist. But basically, I just saw this the other day, that the director of WHO has says, yeah, that's where it came from. And so they have been listening to a narrative controlled by the mainstream media, controlled by the left, and we've been digging, and we've had to dig deeper and harder as time has gone on, and saying, well, no, that isn't what has happened. And we've had two different worlds, the left and the right. But now we're having a breakthrough because the gas prices are going up and the grocery store prices are going up, and now they can't deny it anymore.
I mean, don't you think at midterms it's just gonna, it has to, right?
Well, I'm hoping. But, you know, that's what it took
Yes.
for reality to break through. Because people, when you think about it, like when I was growing up, you had a newspaper, you were getting both sides of the story, but now there's one news source and there's another one. And so everybody's living in their echo chambers.
And you talk about that, and we talked about it in the beginning where, you know, if you want to find out about Fufang, you can't find anything about it. You can Google it all you want, and there's nothing out there for people to learn or to just figure out what's going on in the world. And that's what is scary going into this, is that you truly, to research and to learn and to just figure out what's going on, it's not out there. It's not available to people.
And some of it has been wiped off the internet.
Yeah.
Because you can't even find stuff. I find something one day and then I can't find it the next day. So that kind of takes us back to that special 10-part series that we're doing, China Conquest Inside Job. that it is hard for us to find out. We're not learning history in school. Depending on which reporter you're listening to, you're getting different versions. And so that is just an excellent series. I encourage you to go to Beck.News to find out at least that one segment of our relationship with China and what's going on in Grand Forks.